Well, good morning and welcome back to the allotment, where I'm cracking on getting some of this rest of this stuff out of this greenhouse and getting it planted out as best I can. And believe it or not, this grape's going to go in the ground. I built this little planter here, dug the soil out, incorporated a lot of grit in the base and then mixed it in with the soil. So this is going to go in there finally. I think I've had this in this pot for about a year. Right, I think that's deep enough. Let's have a look at the roots. Not many roots there to say it's been in nearly a year. In we go. As easy as that, and it's taken me all that time. Right, I'm over to get the courgettes and take those strawberries out and put those in there. I'll see you across there. Well, that's typical. Just as I was about to go out, the heavens have decided to open. So, bogged in here just to take cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strawberries out, as I explained the other day, and I'm going to bob them in here and deal with them from there on. There's not enough strawberries there to warrant having that bed to themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of my courgettes in there. These are bought courgettes because I had about 6 germinate, and when I brought them down to the greenhouse, they just keeled over for no reason whatsoever and just died. So Mick was up at the garden centre the other day and he picked me 2 up. So I'm going to put those in there instead. I've still all the dahlias to go in the garden, but I ain't going out there in this. Hopefully it will stop very, very soon. I've got quite a few cucumbers that I'm wanting to give away, so they're going there. Somebody gave me a aubergine, so that's going to need potting on when I pot on the peppers, which I've now sorted all through. So we're getting there slowly but surely. I've still got some of these bush tomatoes, which are going to go in a trough down there, where I took the garlic from. Let's just have a quick gander at it. There we go. Yeah, they're just right for potting on. So I'm hoping at the weekend I can crack on with that. I'm hoping to have a couple of the grandkids down again at the weekend. 2 newbies to the channel, Rudy, Ella, and maybe Sonny, if his mum brings him on. So I'm going to get some labels and they're going to choose which plant's theirs, and whichever of the dwarf sunflowers is the tallest, I'll give them a prize. They all end up getting a prize anyway. Right, leave me doing this. Hopefully when you're back that rain will have ceased. Well, it don't look as though this is going to stop this afternoon, so I've gone up, collected them, and I'll put them on in here. Right. Golly gosh, looks like it's in for days this, so I might have to do part of it today. I said when I first come on, oh, good morning, actually it's afternoon. So I might have to do what I can today, and then, oh, before I do that, yeah, I've checked and there's no, oh, what's that there? Is that a No, there's no grubs, that's perlite. So I'm not understanding what's going on with these strawberries, but I've managed to save 6 and the rest are just ruined. And I think there were a dozen in there. So it's not worth them taking all that bed. And I think I'm only going to be able to get 2 in these pots. So I'll have to find another couple of pots. So yeah, I was hoping to get the bush tomatoes in the gabion baskets, which I harvested the garlic from, or some of the garlic that I had in there. I suppose I could do that, but I really want to do it on film. So I'm going to wait until tomorrow. So that's one. And what I'll do is I'll bring them on in here for a few days, just to let them recover from the move. And then these can go on the patio at home. Here's another one. Again, I can't see any grubs in there. So, never mind. You win some, you lose some. You know, I've never been very successful, to be fair, with with strawberries. And I think as well, to get a decent whack of them, you've got to devote a big space to them, I suppose. And I don't love them that much. You know, I can take them or leave them. So, yeah, well, there's nothing on there. These look quite healthy, to be fair, so hopefully by doing this we'll get something. Get it there, that's it. Give them a nice feed and they should be alright. I might actually stand them outside just to clean off the leaves. Right, that's 2. I'll have to go find another couple of planters to finish the rest off. Give me 2 secs. Right, so I managed to find another pot, and whilst I was carrying out the strawberries, I've noticed that this one's bust. So I found 3 like this. So I've transferred the 2 pots that I've just done into the same as these. So yeah, these hopefully will do okay. That rain is very persistent and my greenhouse is starting to steam up. So I think what I will do is I will come back tomorrow morning, hopefully in drier climes, and continue this video. But before I go, I'd like to say a big welcome back to Amir, who I noticed to put a video out just explaining his absence. But it's great to get him back in the fold of the YouTube gardening fraternity. Right, so there's 3. And they're gonna, as I say, go home on to the patio. Right guys, I am gonna call it a draw today. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a good night. looking healthier already. Well, I was about to dash off and there's been a break in the weather. So I'm going to put these 8 tumbling toms right on the front edge of this gabion basket, which I've freshened up with some nice fresh topsoil. So hopefully I'll be pulling plenty of tomatoes off here. Yeah, if this stays like this, I should be able to get the courgettes in too. I was, Danny messaged me the other day and mentioned that the yard-long beans that I've put in on the bean structure just behind the planter there are not very good in outdoor situations in our climate, unless we get a really particularly hot summer. So rather than risk not getting a good crop, what I'm going to do, I think Martin, who you've all met before, has got some runner beans spare. So I think what I'm going to do is, just in case, as a precaution, I'm going to plant some runner beans in between the yard long. There is quite a fair space between the canes, so it shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I also planted my, I don't know if you can see him just in shot there, my basil into this planter here. Looks really nice and attractive. I've alternated the it's purple basil and the green, so it looks quite good. Right, I've got to go get a bag of compost to freshen up that far bed, and we'll get the shallots in. Shallots, have you heard me? I'm losing it. Get the courgettes in. So this is where the strawberries were. Let's get all these weeds out first, and then I'll bob in the compost. Yeah, so where I've just planted the tomatoes, I had some garlic in there, spare garlic that I'd left over, so I just planted in those gabion baskets. To be fair, they didn't fare that well for being in the baskets. I'm hoping that the ones that I've got out in the beds are going to be much better than what I've got there. I will show you them. After I've done this, I'll take you down and show you them. I've got them in the sun shelter, just drying off on a rack there. So I'm hoping, and what I might do is just do because I need the garlic bed up here, so I might just do a trial reveal. Let's see what they're like. This soil don't look too bad, so I'm not understanding what's gone on. I put a bit of fish blood and bone in there as well before I planted the strawberries, so let's hope the courgettes fare better. Let's get these out. Once I've got everything planted out, I'll jump straight on the weeding. I have got quite a few weeds knocking about at the moment, but that's bound to happen when you're getting this damp spell and when you're busy concentrating on planting out. The weeds always sneak up, but we'll get back to them and we'll get them sorted once we've got the majority of the stuff out. When I set my mind to weeding, I come down and I know that I'm going to go through the plot. Just bring the radio down and steady away. I find it quite therapeutic, to be fair. Right, let's bang some more of this. Manor Farm compost. It looks really nice and black. Big chunks in there. You know what? My fingernails are never clean for long. But I must make sure I get them cleaned when I get home. Wife doesn't find dirty fingernails very attractive. Right, there we go. That's looking healthy as ever. Right, the courgettes that I've got here. One is called, I haven't got my glasses on, and it doesn't actually tell you what the variety is. Well, strange one that. Right, so here's one, nice and healthy, nice and young. Let's stick that right in there. Let's hope they do well. I'll leave a little bowl like that just so that I can direct the water into it and it's not running away from the roots. And then the next one is a yellow courgette. That says green, this says yellow. So, not sure what the variety is, but they're going in. There you go. The plot's starting to fill right up now, and starting to look quite attractive. Right, let's go have a look at that garlic. The onions are looking well. This side of the plot, where the carrots are, and Lily's bed, were potato patches last season, and as you can see, I'm getting potatoes coming through all over the place, right in the middle of my carrots, ruining my carrot rows. So I'm going to have to have a little bit of think about that. There's quite a lot of carrots up. The second row's in. I've got to put a third in, but I'm going to have to clear those potatoes first. Yeah, so they're coming up all over the place. And there we have the tomatoes, the tumbling toms, and there's the basil. Look, really nice and attractive, down with the two other Gabion baskets full of herbs. So that's where, where the tomatoes were, that's where the garlic was that I've harvested, that's in the sun shelter, which isn't that clever. Potatoes are looking all nice and neat. Not much weed in this bed, I'm quite surprised. Past my sunflower centrepiece. The yard long's there. I think Danny might be right, but I'll give them a chance. And the grapevine. So these are my garlic that I'm going to harvest between now and the weekend. But I'll take you first and show you the ones that I've harvested from the baskets. As I say, I've all this to plant up with the cosmos, with the lavateria, and the dahlias. This bed will look really nice, I think, once it's planted. This okra has done absolutely superb. Now these are really temperamental plants. Sometimes you can put them in and they just sort of like dry off and just sort of like rot from the bottom up. But this one must really love this microclimate because it's gonna bomb. There's all the cosmos. Look at the size of those. They're bursting to get in. So I have a lot to do. There's the strawberries that I've just done. And here we go. Let's just step in here. I don't know if you can see. These are some of the garlic that were in the baskets. Not massive, you know, but they'll be used. No problem. So I'm hoping that the garlic, oops, don't do me, kicked the bucket. So I'm hoping that the garlic in the beds over there are better. So I'm going to nip over there now and let's do a reveal. We'll take 2 or 3 out. I'm not going to do them today. I'll do them, as I say, throughout the rest of this week and over the weekend. So let's go have a look and let's see, fingers crossed, that they've performed better than the ones in the basket. Right, let's have a look. Now, I've never done fantastically well with garlic. I think the first crop I had, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I did really well and got some really nice bulbs, but always just been sort of average. So let's see how these have done. And yes, I would say quite average really. You know, they've split nicely. So I think I'm just carrying on the usual form. Try another one here. Yes, there's no sign of white rot on there, but again, quite average. But if they're all like that, I will be very happy. As I say, it's a feed. Again, same sort of size. What I'm not going to do this year, as I did, I think it was last year, and I dried all my garlic in the greenhouse on very warm, dry days, sunny days, and I left it in there too long. And when I came to take it out, it had all gone soft. So the sun shelter is where I'm gonna dry these out. Right, let's just have one more. I'll go for you over here. But yeah, I think they're all fairly consistent. But do you know what? I'm happy with that. You know, I'm happy with that. It's certainly not something you'd find on the Isle of Wight, but it'll do for me here in Leeds. Right, let's go. Right, I'll pick the biggest one out of these and we can do a comparison. So these were done in the basket, and let me pick the best out of these ones, probably that. And you see them close up. This one certainly is bigger. So I won't be doing them in baskets anymore. They'll just be going in the ground. Finally, before I go, I got a message off Pete Trenouth, who talked about the sweet corn in the greenhouse, and in particular these side shoots. Now he'd said that he'd heard in the past that taking these off and letting all the nutrients go into the actual growth of the rest of the sweet corn would provide better cobs, and I pretty much sort of think that that's probably about right. But not being an expert, you know, anybody out there that can tell me, should I trim these side shoots off? You know, all of them have got them. Do I take them off and let the nutrients go into the rest of the plant? Is Pete and myself right on that score? Let us know in the comments below. Right guys, thank you very much for joining me for this midweek update. Hopefully I'll be back at the weekend. I've got to go back to that job and finally finish it off. I might take a couple of photos of that and add it onto the next video, just so you can see what we were up against. Yes, so until then, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll leave a link to Amir's channel in the comments below. Go over and give him a visit, say hi, and yes, I'll see you at the weekend. So until then, take care and happy growing. Oh, big X, those knees are creaking.